diaspora and in Liberia. This is Jerome Gaiman, your co-host of On Point, with my co-host, Mr. Edward Doe. Could you go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
Yes, this is Edward Doe with Jerome Gaiman and On Point, focus on Liberia. Today's topic we'll be talking about, we're going to continue with national healing and reconciliation. And one of the topics we want to talk about is mainly rape, which is going on right now in Liberia. And rape, as you know, is part of a national healing too, because the fact of the matter is that rape affects a lot of our young girls and young women. And because of that, I want to bring some healing, want to just have a conversation on that. And we have with us a guest, Mr. Gaiman will introduce our guest, Mr. Gaiman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Doe. How do we get here? Those are the questions that we keep asking ourselves when it comes to national issues. There has to be a disclaimer here on my part because I am a very good friend of the former foreign minister, Honorable Gbehzohngar Findley. I have to put that out there that he's a personal friend of mine. We've been working together on several issues and several projects in the county. However, when I listened to him a few months ago, he talked about the country needed healing. Honorable Findley has made healing and reconciliation one of his pillars of his campaign. So based on that, it dawned upon me to call upon him and his honorable office to join us to discuss, to have an earnest discussion as to what healing is all about. How does he see healing and reconciliation? Where does he want to take us? And what does he have as part of his platform to heal Grand-Bassa County and then the nation as a whole? As you've been knowing me, Mr. Doe, I am a proponent of local government. Like we all say, charity begins at home. So Honorable Findley is going to be here to talk to us about how we can begin from Grand-Bassa County and then work our way up into the national agenda. Along with me is the communication director of the Findley camp, the assistant minister, the foreign ministry, Mr. Dennis Grieve. He may be new to you, but he's an astute son of Grand-Bassa County, highly educated, trained, and he is going to be the intermediary between us and Honorable Findley while he's en route. Mr. Honorable Findley just contacted me. He's in the #1 district, way in the hinterland, and he's trying to make his way up to compound #1. So once he gets within range, he will try to call in. Obviously, if he cannot zoom in, he will call in and answer those questions. In the meantime, Honorable Grease is going to be here. He has all the information. In fact, he's the communication director of that campaign. So I'm going to turn this over to Honorable Grease that he introduce himself, and then we'll go further from there. Honorable Grease is all yours at this point.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Gaiman. Let me say thank you to your co-host, and let me say thank you to all of your people in the diaspora and those monitoring this show. And I'm told it's 4 p.m. At your time, and here is a late evening. So I'm very grateful. I'm good, and I'm happy to be on your platform. And I'm talking to you from the post city of Gbehzohngar. And it's wonderful to be on your show.
Will you introduce yourself, who you are, your academic background, and your portfolio as it is now?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gaiman. I am a graduate of the St. Peter Clower Catholic High School in Gbehzohngar City. I hold a Bachelor of Public Administration from the AME University on Camp Johnson Road. I hold a master's degree in regional planning, regional science with honor from the University of Liberia, and I studied for a Master of Public Management with emphasis in public sector reform from Ho-Ha University in the People's Republic of China. I'm currently studying at the Ibrahim Banamazi Bambangida School of International Studies at the University of Liberia, for short called the RBB. I'm studying for a Master of Arts in International Studies. So I'm a student, and I'm a son of Grand-Bassa County. I once served as Development Superintendent of Grand-Bassa County from 2012 to 16 before I took study leave and I went to China. I now work at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs. And I'm also in the Bassa SSRs in Grand Bassa County. And I support Mr. Gbehzohngar Milton Findley, senatorial bid for 2020. And he's one leader that I have worked with since 2004, 2005. And I can say to you in clear terms without stupor, more and many of his legislative agenda and his development plans for Bassa and Liberia in the context of reconciliation, peace, and development. And that is why I'm humble and pleased to be on your platform this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Greaves. Mr. Greaves is, as you can see, he's an accomplished academician. He is an accomplished young man that have grown up, worked his way up into the ranks of Grand Bassa County as far as leadership is concerned. So as we go into the political arena and the beginning of the political campaign, we would like to profile all of our candidates on this platform to tell us what is it that they intend to do, what their platforms, their accomplishment, what have they done in the past, what they intend to do. And we in the diaspora, how can we help along the way? So this is what the show is all about today. While we are in the background working to get Honorable Findley on, I would like for you to tell us a little bit about the platform of Dr. Findley. What is it that he wants to do, and who is Findley in the meantime?
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Findley is a son of Grand Bassa County, and he's a son of Liberia, and he was born in Buchanan City in 1960, July 2nd, and his late father was the poor man lawyer, Joseph Patrick Henry Findley, and his late mother was a classroom teacher, Mother Gertrude Araminta Findley, who also served as principal for the B.W. Harris School in Monrovia. She served as principal for the William V.S. Stockman High School in Monrovia, and she was a classroom teacher, a mother, and Mr. Gbehzohngar Findley from childhood attended the Bassa Demonstration School. He attended the St. Peter's Lutheran School in Monrovia and graduated from the William V.S. Stockman High School. He holds a BSc in electrical engineering from the Franklin University in Ohio, and he holds a master's degree in pedagogy, sociology from Lund University in Sweden. He established his first private company where he served as CEO in 2000, and that company is called APPC, which is an agricultural produce processing company that employs thousands of Liberians and farmers and cocoa and coffee buyers. And he bought cocoa and coffee across Liberia, processed them, sent them to Europe and other parts of the world. And in 2005, he was elected by the people of Bassa to serve as senior senator. As an independent candidate, his fellow senators saw in him that leadership quality and pedigree, and he was elected Senate Pro Tem of the Liberian Senate, the Honorable Liberian Senate, in 2009. He was elected President Pro Tempore. So 2014, he left the Senate and he worked with the Coalition for Democratic Change that brought President Weah, His Excellency Dr. George Manuel Weah, to power, to the presidency. And he was appointed in 2017 as foreign minister. While serving as foreign minister for a little over 2 years, he was petitioned by the people of Grand Bassa County overwhelmingly in their majority. And there were several events or occasions or programs that were held, and the people of Bassa petitioned him. The last one of recent was on his birthday, July 2nd, 2020, in Buchanan City, when the people of Bassa, headed by the Supreme Chief and Chief Edward Gama and Chief John Teweyu and other prominent citizens, again petitioned Mr. Gbehzohngar Findley to contest Bassa Senate seat 2020. And on August 15, he accepted the petitions of the people to partake in the process. And from August 15 upward, he's now engaged with presenting to the people the need for the voter roll update, for our people to participate in the voter roll update. because if you do not have your voter's card, you will not be able to partake in the process. He's presenting his legislative agenda to the people of Gbehzohngar. And number one on that agenda is peace and reconciliation for Gbehzohngar and Liberia at large. So we are honored to be part of your discussion because you are discussing a topic that forms the top agenda list of Mr. Gbehzohngar Findley's legislative agenda, which is peace and reconciliation in Grand Gbehzohngar County. Mr. Findley believes that in the absence of peace and reconciliation, you cannot and we cannot achieve development. We cannot move Gbehzohngar forward. We cannot move Liberia forward. And so we must emphasize the need for peace and reconciliation. And we cannot do that in isolation of the people of Liberia in the diaspora. Liberian citizens in the diaspora, Gbehzohngar citizens in the diaspora are very key in pushing for reconciliation in Gbehzohngar, in pushing reconciliation in Liberia. And that is very key. So I don't know whether you are getting me.
Yeah, we are getting.
I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I'm live. So reconciliation is key. And if you were to allow me to briefly historicize the importance and the need for reconciliation in Liberia, I will take you back to our Civil War, and then we come to the leadership of Madame Salih, and we talk about the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and some of the recommendations that were put forth by the TRC, and one of those talked about and healing, national healing and reconciliation. One of those reconciliation talks about the town hall discussion, and the Palava hall discussion, and the people-to-people reconciliation and effort. And it's also part of the TRC. So it's not only retribution. It's not only retribution. It's about making sure that people can have the opportunity to sit down in their towns and villages, in their counties, in their cities, to talk about how they want to move their society forward. That is also part of reconciliation, and is part of the many recommendations put forth by the TRC. So you agree with me that we have a lot to do from the county level to talk about national level in how we provide the needed and the enabling environment and platform for our people to talk those issues that matter to them, to talk about those issues that border on healing, national healing and reconciliation, border on development, and how to coexist as a people, and how to move our dreams and ambitions forward as a nation and as a country. So on Mr. Gbehzohngar Milton Findley legislative agenda, number one is peace and reconciliation. And we could talk more about the need to reconcile the people of Gbehzohngar, home and abroad.
All right.
I emphasize home and abroad. So those of the diaspora, you are very, very needed. Your expertise,
Mr. Dennis,
your technical know-how, your exposure, your international exposure and experience.
Mr.
We
Dennis?
need all of those to move our country forward and to move the development agenda of our people forward. So I hope I can hold on. I see you and allow you to come in.
Yes, Mr. Dennis, this is Edward here, the host with Jerome Gamer. I'm glad that you are on point, and that you mentioned the TRC, which is a very good document, a very good manifesto in terms of peace and reconciliation. You also mentioned about retribution and things of that nature. I want you to tell us a little bit about Mr. Findley, Honorable Findley platform in terms of whether he will support the TRC documents, and whether what part of retribution does he support? Will he support distributive retribution or just retribution?
Thank you all so much for the question regarding where does Mr. Findley stand on the TRC recommendations there are several things in our recommendation or in the TRC report. There are several recommendations and in different dimensions and different forms and with different consequences. And Mr. Findley is on record for saying that the recommendations of the TRC should be presented to the people of Liberia for a way forward. The TRC recommendation and the TRC document itself, I'll say to you this afternoon or evening from wherever you sit, is not in totality a final verdict. The people of Liberia should have a say as to how and where we move to regarding the TRC and its recommendation. That is clear. That is clear. If you were to get Mr. Findley on the line, he would say to you, we cannot move any further with TRC recommendation without the input of the people of Liberia. Generally, we need to have that dialogue. We need to have the exercise to know where our people stand.
So how is
because we come? I'm coming. We come from the CPA, the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. We came to Judy Bryan. We came to Madame Salif, and today we have TRC. It's more than 15 to 16 years ago. So where we move to, the people of Liberia should move along with us. In order for us to determine as to how they move along with us, we need to present to them the way forward and let them give their input. We cannot take the TRC recommendations in totality as a verdict and as the final roadmap. That's where we stand. But beyond that, Mr. Gbehzohngar Findley believes in what we call the town hall approach, the people-to-people approach, providing the platform, the opportunity, and the enabling environment for the people to foster healing, national healing and reconciliation. Our people need development. They need role. They need improvement in the educational sector, in the health sector. We're talking about the need for agricultural, development. All of these things cannot happen when we do not have total healing and reconciliation.
So how is
that begins with our people.
Okay, Mr. Honorable.
Excuse me, Mr. Honorable Reeves.
Yeah, Greaves.
Honorable Greaves, thank you very much for being on and being so eloquent on the issue. You know, the TRC report has become weaponized as a political document. And I'm glad that you are bringing light to this, that this is not to be political in nature, but it should be holistic. And everybody, as citizens of Liberia, becomes a stakeholder in the TRC report. Let me grab this from your boss is on the line with me. So go ahead and talk about the holistic part of the TRC report. Let me answer Gbehzohngar here, see what he's trying.
Okay, so for us to talk about engaging the TRC report or the TRC recommendations or talking about reconciliation in Liberia as a whole, it should begin from the local level. That's our idea. It should begin from the local level. It should start with the people in the towns and villages, in the counties. And how do we do that? Just like I said to you, we came from the CPA, the Comprehensive Peace Agreement in Ghana, in 2003 or so. Then we came to Madame Salif's leadership from 2006 to 2017. And between there, all we could achieve was to have a TRC document. Just imagine, from 2006 to 2017, that's about 12 years. And all we can boast of as a country is a TRC document with recommendation in it. And now all you want to do is that this government should take that document and run with it and start to. So we have over 15 years now. We want to make sure that we put forward or we implore a kind of reconciliation exercise that will meet the general support of our people, whether at the county level or at national level. We want to know where the Liberian people stand right now as a regards reconciliation and peace in this country. And even regarding the TRC document itself, where do they stand? Nobody, no politician, no leader in Liberia can clearly tell you where the majority of the Liberian people stand on TRC document. So what we need to do, and what Mr. Findley is suggesting and putting forward to the people of Gbehzohngar, is that the people of Gbehzohngar will have to play a major role in how we move forward with this reconciliation exercise. And how do we begin that? Through dialogue, through people-to-people peace and reconciliation, engagement exercises, town hall discussion, village discussion, city talk, that the effort, the peace and reconciliation effort should not start from Monrovia to my village in Kokodelistan District number 4, or to my mother's village in Yellowstone in Bond County, Kokoya District. No, it should not. It should start from the bottom up. And how do you do that? Is by getting the people involved. Okay? Gbehzohngar as a county and as a region. I was telling people the last time about the geopolitical map of the Gbehzohngar land. And this is something that we have to teach, because it has now been taught at any university. The geopolitical map of the Gbehzohngar land. It talks about the people.
Mr. Greaves, can I interrupt you a minute, please?
Please do.
Listen, thank you for that eloquent explanation. But I want you to explain to our audience, how is the Honorable Findley platform, is promoting the TRC document? What strategy are they using, to promote this document so that people can be aware of it? As Jerome Gaiman said, that some people are using this document as a political weapon, things of that nature. So how is he promoting it so that it cannot be weaponized, or it's not being used for people to understand it that it's not a political weapon? Can you please, elaborate on that?
Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Greaves, stay put.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Honorable Findley. How you doing there? Thank you very much for yielding to our call. We have your able body, your assistant and chair of the communication department, Mr. Greaves, on the line. He's been making a great cause, and we are very grateful that you I've been following you. I know you were deep in the interior somewhere with the bad weather. I know you're in a little place with signal. So thank you very much for making the effort. We are talking about reconciliation and healing. And those two things were things that you have discussed a few months ago, that they were going to be part of the pillars of your campaign, and it caught my attention. So we are here with healing. We are here with reconciliation. For me, there's a two school of thoughts here. One is putting forth reconciliation, and there's another school of thought, of which I belong, that says healing has to take place first before reconciliation. So we are glad that you are here on the platform with me. Is my co-host, Edward Doe, who will be asking some questions, and we'll be going back and forth. Just in case you get cut off, we have standby Honorable Greaves, who is actually making a great case. So tell us about yourself and your platform, and what is it you want to do for Liberia through Grand Bassa County.
Well, let me thank you all for giving this opportunity. What it is that we are looking at the future of Bassa, and there are certain things that are lacking, and some of those things that are lacking have to do a lot of social services for Grand Bassa County. Government hospital, for one, has not been representative of what a hospital should be like, a referral hospital should be like. We're proposing that we get a modern hospital to support educational institution in all of the districts to train the young people in skills training. Number three, we are looking at bringing investors into the county to create jobs so that people will have an income. Number four, we talk about reconciling the county. Reconciliation requires a lot because in the absence of reconciliation, we cannot have unity. Number five, we want to go back to the junior college that was established 12 years ago for associate degrees so that we can get the junior college to offer bachelor's degree, which means there is an amendment in the legislation for that junior college. So those are the five pillars. There are also constituency work. We're talking about roads from Buchanan to St. John, number three, in the number three district, which is electoral district number 4. That's a road that I believe should be paved, and we can fight for that and advocate for that. There are other works that are in the different districts that we need to look at. We need to look at our education system. So all of these things are things that I believe that needs improvement, and we can make a difference in that light.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Findley. This is Edward Doe. Thanks for making it to On Point, and we very much appreciate your presence. I like what you outlined, a few minutes ago, your 5 pillars. Those are good incentives. Those are good programs. But we are talking about reconciliation, healing reconciliation, and the issue of the TRC document was raised by Mr. Greaves, and my question to Mr. Greaves earlier was, before you came on, was that what is the Findley platform doing to promote the TRC document, make sure that it takes that rap away from it, that is a political document that is weaponized, to cause political havoc and things of that nature. So what is your platform doing to promote the document other than a political document?
Well, I think this is, I would say, I don't know what the Greaves view would be. My opinion that there's no way you can separate politics from that particular document. That document addressed some of the political ills in our society. So we have to treat it as a political one. There's no way you can look at it and say it's non-political because, first of all, the committee was assembled by a president who was politically elected. He went to the legislature where it's a political issue because it's going to affect the lives of every Nigerian, every single Nigerian. So we have to look at it in that perspective. We cannot reverse it to say that it will not affect the lives of Liberians. If you impose it as is, if you impose it with the recommendations made, there have already been challenges in the Supreme Court on some of the counts in that recommendation. But it goes that particular document goes into the social fabric of our society. How can we heal our country? How can we move forward? There are those who believe that some of the recommendations should be fully enforced. There are some of those who believe that we should not enforce it. I recall vividly, I think probably in 2008, where that document came before the legislature, and we decided we were going to go and have town hall meetings. I think I had about 36 town hall meetings in Grand Bassa County as a sitting senator on that particular document. And what I found out from all of those town hall meetings, majority, I would say about 78, 79% of the people said, look, we want to forgive our people, but they must understand that not because we are forgiving them, that we'll tolerate it again. We will never tolerate it from anybody anymore. There were a group of 20% told themselves, look, we should punish the perpetrator, send them to jail, prosecute them, and send them to jail. There was a small number of people who didn't feel comfortable, very small, minute number that didn't care one way or the other, and who have not experienced this whole war situation. But there's no way we can separate it from politics. It is a political document, and that's why we have to treat it politically. To solve the problem, my recommendation is to go for a referendum. Let's see a referendum with two questions. Do we go for punishment to impose this document, or do we leave it? And once that decision is made, because it is a political document, that political decision can be made. It doesn't have to be with the legislature, it doesn't have to be with the executive or the judiciary, but the people themselves can determine and decide. Because it's a report, a committee of individuals looked at the situation and brought it back to the legislature. The legislature doesn't have the political will, have not been able to have muscle with political will to deal with it. So send it to a referendum. Let us deal with this thing once and for all. If the majority of the citizens say persecute, we persecute. If the majority of the citizens say forgive, we forgive and move forward. But we cannot continue, the country cannot continue to move in this direction or a particular document. I believe that we must find a solution.
Thank you very much, Honorable Findley. Like we say, all politics are local. I know that you were, because I worked with you on this, most people do not know your relationship to the community college. I was there, and I know from the inception what you did to bring that college to fruition. Can you give us an understanding of the two major projects that I can attest to, which is the Bass of Monrovia Highway and the community college? Can you educate us a little bit as to how that college came into being and what will you do or are doing at this point to make it a full-fledged 4-year university?
Well, let me begin with the Monrovia Buchanan Highway. This highway, there was funding from the World Bank to get the road from Cotton Tree to Bokestown. When President Salif came in to power, we made a plea to her, and she said, well, look, we don't have the money to do the full road. World Bank doesn't have the funds to do the full road, but you can find some money to patch the road from Bokestown to Buchanan. We rejected that. That was rejected. And so we had to lobby with her to be able to call a donor conference for that particular road. It was not only buttons that are on the road. There were 3 persons responsible for the funding to make sure that President Salif went and called a donor conference for that particular road. 3. I will call the 3 names. Gbehzohngar Tower, Deer Jumping Chapter, and Gbehzohngar Findley. Those were the 3 people that was on Ellen Salif back, Salif at the time, to make sure that that donor conference was called and that she got the funding to fund that road. 3 persons' names I called. Anybody else tell you anything else? Yeah, basically hallucinating. The junior college, that was my platform in 2005. That we will establish the junior college because the young people of Bassa didn't have an opportunity for higher education. They couldn't afford, the parents could not afford to send them to Monrovia to school. Because in Monrovia, even the water you take back would be got to buy. So we felt that we established a junior college that would give associate degree in Grand Bassa, so that the kids that were graduating from the high school in the county would have an opportunity. to start their higher education. The first person I talked to was Dr. Gbehzohngar, who was president of the A&E University in 2006. Dr. Gbehzohngar took me to one Reverend Miller. He was a teacher there, and Miller was the first person that tried to give me a guideline, set up a guideline for me with my idea of what I wanted, what I envisioned, put it in a structured way, and took it to the higher education committee. Then when I got there, they said, well, look, you need a charter. And I tell this to everybody. Went to a lawyer, and I paid $6,096 to charter. But prior to going to the lawyer, I wrote all my colleagues in the legislature from Basel. None of them responded, not one. So I went ahead and paid the first $6,000 to the lawyer who did the charter. And I up to today, I have challenged anybody to tell me the name of the lawyer who wrote the charter. If you say you know from the inception, the birth of this particular college, name the lawyer. If anybody can name the lawyer, but only the lawyer and myself know. And I basically have instructed him that client lawyer privilege, you cannot disclose it unless you have a written consent from me. So if you know the lawyer, name the lawyer. If anybody can say they did the charter, put your hand up. The college is not mine, but it was my idea. It was the platform on which I ran in 2005. Nobody can question that either. Even to get it through the legislature. Now, one single representative that was in the House of Representatives at the time can say they spoke on behalf of that college, that bill at the time. You don't believe me? Call the Representative Bono, who was chairing the committee on the House side. He will tell you whether he saw any representative from Basel that went to him to lobby on behalf of that college, except me. Because when we send the bill, when we pass it from the Senate and send it to the House, Speaker Tyler wrote back and said, look, we don't have the certificate from the approval from the Higher Education Commission. So I personally took it to him and showed it to him. Yes, he said he wanted the original, so the people sent him the original. Because what was happening in Liberia at that time, that there were no junior colleges established. I think Bombing had something there, but it was more of a technical school. Bono was chairing that education committee, and I went to see him. He put the recommendation, put it on the floor. That charter was passed by the House and the Senate. It was sent back to the Senate. I personally took it to President Stelly. He did not even read it. He signed it into law.
Right.
Okay. Now that we have come to the meat of the show, which is the campaign in Bassa. I'm getting a lot of inbox here. One of the questions is, what is the difference between you and the incumbent? And another question is, what you didn't do in your first term when you were Senate pro tem, what make you think now is going to be different this time?
Well, you see, this is the difference between me and the incumbent. I would like for people to look at our records while we were in the legislation, the work we've done in the council, our constituency work, the lives of people that we have affected, the improvement that we've brought to the people of Basel. The issue that these people always ask, look, you may not like working at Findley, but I think that question is a question that I don't understand if people don't know that the population is growing. People are not stagnant. Nothing 9 years ago or 15 years ago is not the same as today. The social services system is like saying to me, well, we don't need a government hospital, but go to the government hospital, women who are delivering are sleeping on the floor. If that is fine with people, then it's fine, but it's not fine with me. Those things are things that can be addressed. The issue is this. You need to understand the ability of me being able to attract investment. I'm the only legislator that says can boast of a major investment in Basel. Not only one, but two. Major investments that went to Basel. The other issue is the Senate is a place where you need 16 votes to get any legislation passed. 16.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You can't get it, you become insignificant in the Senate. You have bills that offer or issues that you want to raise on the floor, you need to get 16 votes. If you look at my record on the Senate floor while I was there as a senator, I'm not even going to vote for them because for them I don't have the right to vote except 55 when I preside. You will see, look at both records. You will see the bills that I was involved in, the number of bills I was able to sponsor and pass. I'm still waiting for the person to show me the record of the kind of caliber that my record has. I chair almost all the committees in this committee, important committees, except for those which were professional committees, judiciary, the health. But most of the committees that I chair, you can see what was happening in the country. The major bill, the establishment of the Liberia Revenue Authority, which was a bill that was drafted by the CFM law, that was the IMF, PPCC amendment.
All right. Mr. Findley, Honorable Findley.
Education bill.
Okay. Oh, you see something?
So there's a lot of things there. I mean, if you were to look at my record, and you were to look at my record in terms of constituency work, the number of kids that I sent to school, I don't see any senator that was in the Senate with me can show that record. No, not one. I paid quiet fees for the entire county, both 9th grade and 12th graders, 2 years in a row. I'm not.
Okay.
I tell you the truth. Some of the things that people tell me, I don't remember. So when it comes to constituency work, and my concern for Basel, especially with education, I don't see my record. I don't see anybody that can match my record. So the question is, why I want to do that in then. What I did then, even what I did then, needs to be amended. Some of the things need to be maintained. Take, for example, the Buchanan Highway. Right now, we need to do maintenance work on that. 6, 7 years old. There's some potholes developing now. We need to go back now and take those potholes out and make sure that we can patch it up before it gets worse. It rains a lot in Liberia. The road is good, but there are some small. I think there's one pothole that I've seen on the road, and that perhaps tells you that you need to do proper maintenance when there's no maintenance being done on the road.
Hey, Honorable Findley.
GBCC needs to be upgraded. The facility there is being run down. You need new chairs. You need new blackboards. You have to do maintenance on these facilities. So if you're looking at what I did 9 years ago or 6 years ago, that question to answer is, population is growing. There are more social needs that we need to work on.
All right, Honorable Findley, this is Mr. Edward Doe. Thank you so much for that eloquent, explanation as to your candidacy compared to when you were Senate Pro Tem. I have one of the audience have written on point focus on Liberia. Father Jacob says Finley has never stood up to WIA or put the Liberian people first. It was like he was not even foreign minister. He was always in the background, standing in WIA's shadow. Senate Pro Tem Minister, now Senator, Finley never talked about any reconciliation when he was foreign minister. All these party cadres looking to enrich themselves year after year. And and there's a question here also from a writer, inbox me. It's about the code of conduct. The individual, the audience asks whether you resign your position as Minister of Foreign Affairs currently, and you are now a candidate for the Senate position for Grand Bassa. The listener wants to know whether if you lose the Senate race, would you go back to your position as Minister of Foreign Affairs if we are, reappoints you?
Well, let me answer the question. No, I don't think so. I think the president is going to appoint a foreign minister. There's no need for the president to hold such a position open for Gbehzohngar because it's not a Gbehzohngar farm. I'm a private company. It's the government of Liberia, and I serve at the different pleasure of the president. I resigned on the code of conduct. There is no issue. The Supreme Court, having Liberty Party, Harrison Conway versus next stroke Liberia, government of Liberia, where that provision was struck down, and the legislature has not fixed that particular provision in accordance with the ruling of the Supreme Court. So there's no violation of the code of conduct. On the issue of reconciliation, you see, this is the problem with us. I spoke about reconciliation before, not only in Liberia, but outside of Liberia. I spoke about reconciliation in Washington, D.C. I spoke about reconciliation at the Congress of the United States. As foreign minister, I work for the president. I don't work for the people of Basso. Well, I may be a Basso man, but I don't work for the people of Basso. The people of Basso have a senator and representative who should be advocating on their behalf. Reconciliation, my position was clear then to the Congress. And if this issue continues to be a controversial issue, there are those who believe that we should execute the recommendation, and there are those who believe that we should not execute recommendations. So that's where I came in with the referendum. A lot of people criticized me for that some time back. As foreign minister, I think I did one major interview, one. And if you follow my interview then, which was something that I think was I should not have done, because as foreign minister, I'm the chief messenger. When I speak on behalf of the president. So that job you are required, really, to be a good foreign minister, is to try to navigate away from politics. And I think I did a very good job with that, because I didn't have to speak on issues, political issues at the time. So when you talk about I cannot reconcile, I don't know what the issues are. But sometimes you have to be objective. You may even come from a political institution. You may not like the president, or you may like the president. We have to be objective in our way of seeing things. I didn't speak about political issues because I was foreign minister. I'm the chief messenger of the people of Liberia outside of Liberia. So I had to be careful what I say and how I say it, how I would articulate it.
Honorable Findley, this is Jerome Gaiman.
I work at the will and pleasure of the President as Minister of Foreign Affairs. My voice was very clear on this PRC report matter when I was in the Senate. I did not articulate my view, but rather the view of the Bassa people, because they were on record to tell me what to say. We did a consultation. I'm sure most people don't know that the legislature did consultation on the PRC report.
Okay, Honorable Findley, this is Jerome Gaiman. I know in the Senate, you need votes. You need to convince people from the other parties to join you to pass bills. I know there are other senators in the Senate who usually talk but do not understand that to actually be effective, you need other senators on your side. Can you educate us as to how you are going to have other folks join you in bringing forth and passing bills? And also let us know how many votes do you actually need as a senator to pass a bill? On the other hand, someone just inbox me. They also want to know your proximity to the presidency. Does that help you with the portfolio of the Bassa people? For instance, if you were trying to push a bill through, does your proximity to the presidency help the Bassa people? Can you touch on that?
Well, let me put it this way. Look, thank you, Jerome, for that question. When you get to the Senate and you have a bill, you are there. The mechanism to there is a political party. I went in first as an independent in 2005. Now I'm going in on an institution. The institution has an overall policy. They have a platform, the manifesto of the party, which is generalized. Now, when you get there, and which if you look at the manifesto of all the political parties, all of them have almost something similar. It's a mechanism through which you use to achieve that. You are representing a particular constituency. In this case, it would be Bassa. What is it that Bassa needs? Now, the first thing is the budget. How do you get what you want for Bassa in the budget? There are no police vehicles. So how do you get money in the budget for that, for the police in Bassa to get vehicles or logistics? There are no drugs in the clinic. How do you get money in the budget for that? That would be attached to only Bassa. That is the ability that I think I have, being able to get to the other senators to negotiate with them. That is very important that you have those skills. Now, if the presidency, if your relationship with the president, this is where the tricky thing comes in. If you don't have a good relationship with the president, which means you don't have a good relationship with the executive, you're going to have it difficult with all of the cabinet ministers who basically are the what? Executors of the budget. The finance minister can say to you, well, look, I see that you got 200,000 for Bassa, but the money not available. So we give $5,000. We give you $5,000. We pay to you in installment, and then when you get down the road 6 months later, they tell you, well, you know, the revenue shortfall. At the same time, NOFA is getting that full amount. Now, that is something that you need to pay attention to as a lawmaker. You need to follow through with that budget. And if you look at from 2006 to 2014, what Bassa received out of the budget, in the budget, you will know what kind of what that is as a legislation. You will see its effect. The funding for GBCC even went down after I left the Senate. Okay. So it's not the presidency, the relationship with the president is of major importance to you being able to achieve what you want to achieve to help your people. Because if you say you, even when you are opposition, you can be opposition and still receive your portion of the budget. It's not something that is impossible. But you have to be able to articulate issues. The differences should be on issues, not personality. Not personality. And you have to be able to distinguish your like for me and your hate for me from the actual job that you are going there to do. You're not going there to represent yourself. It's not just being a senator, oh, I'm a senator. No, it's not enough. Being a senator, you must be committed to changing the lives of the people that you represent. Not yourself and not your party. The party manifesto is to improve the lives of Liberian people. The job in the Senate is to make sure that you have funding to be able to make that difference. So I will stop there, Jerry.
Okay. Before we let you go, Honorable Findley, one more question. We are also talking about healing and reconciliation, and we are not on cane or not noticing what is happening on the ground. The rape issue has become a political subject on the ground as we speak. What is your take on the rape issue in Liberia and the way forward?
Which issue? The which issue? Oh, the rape?
Rape.
Did you say rape?
Yes, I said rape. What is your take and what's our way forward? What should be our way forward?
I got view on that, and I'm very strong. It's a very strong view. I don't believe in capital punishment, but I can tell you this. I believe that anybody who raped a child, male, to be castrated. After going through trial and found guilty, you should be castrated as well as serve prison term. It's a menace. It's damaging our society. All of us have links to women. If your mother was raped at 3 years old, none of us probably would be on here alive. We wouldn't have been born. Can you imagine a 30-year-old man raping a 3-year-old child? That damaging that child for life. So just thinking about it makes me angry. I lose my cool when I hear that question, because we have to do something about it. It's unacceptable. What is the thing about raping children? They are women. If you are a real man, you will not go after a child. You will not do it. So if I could do that later, I can tell you that would be my stand. That would be something I think very hard. And the second thing is, you need to put money into prosecution so that people will understand that you're not just going to be arrested and you're just going to sit down and get jail. You also need to put money in prosecution. When you say put money in prosecution, which means we need forensic capability to be able to gather evidence, to show evidence beyond reasonable doubt that you have committed crime. You have committed crime of rape, and therefore you are found guilty. It will be substantiated by castration and jail term. That one is no different hand about it. That's my position there.
Hey,
trust me, will be what I was fighting for.
Mr. Doe, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Findley, thank you so much again for that response. I want to go back to the senatorial position. Your candidate say again, something just came to mind, and I just wanted you to elaborate it a little bit further. I know Mr. Gaiman had asked the question before, but I want to rephrase it in a different format. It's about the Senate. You served in the Senate before as a pro temp of the Senate. And then I think time for re-election, you were, correct me if I'm wrong, you were defeated, and then you left the Senate and then became currently foreign minister for the WEA administration, which you recently resigned to then run again as the candidate for the Senate position for Gbehzohngar County. My question is, it appears to me you really like the Senate position. It seems that that's where your strength is, and this is where you want to be to kind of contribute to Liberia. What will you do differently this time if you become senator? In terms of for Gbehzohngar County and for Liberia as a large, as a whole. Because when you were Senate and you were pro tem, it appears that there were many bills that came through you or did not come through you or whatsoever and was not enacted into law, things of that nature. So this time around, how are you going to bring senators together, your colleagues together to pass some real good bills, in terms of the rape issue, in terms of reconciliation and healing? What are you going to do this time around that is quite different, that the passive people can entrust you again for the second time to be a senator?
Well, let me say this. You see, elections is a little bit tricky. And when you run as an independent and you have a platform, it's easier to accomplish that platform because you don't have too many manifesto that the political parties have, because we got all of these issues that they have to deal with: health, roads, infrastructure, culture, health, period. I have one pillow in your college, and I've completed my pillow, my manifesto, 100%. Now, technically, you say, well, if we're in another country, probably like that. But 2014, who did I have? I had reality, I had part of Unity Party fighting, I had PDP fighting, I had the party. Me, the politician in this country that didn't fight wasn't that thing in 2014. Maybe Ellen Kelly. And I say maybe Ellen Kelly. But every politician, every political party opposed me. So I was up against the giants. I mean, of course, I must recognize that. The Liberty Party won this. But when you look at the record in the legislature, if I have been in the United States, I can tell you probably I've been on 50 in the United States with my record in the Senate. So what am I going to do different? Was I a bad lawmaker? Because of my performance that I wasn't voted in. Normally, in Nigeria, they don't vote you because of your performance in the legislature. It's because somebody look at your face, they don't like you, and I have to get rid of you. Or they see you as disrespectful because you didn't bother. So there are different factors that cause you to lose. But once I get into the Senate, I can assure you that all the people that worked with me in the Senate, they will tell you I was very, very persuasive. I got done what I had to do, most of it. I have to say, yes, not all the bills that I supposed I wanted to pass. But that is legislative politics. In terms of bills that didn't pass, in that legislature that we keep, I can tell you there are bills that are still in the committee room from the 40s. So this is a legislative tool. If a bill is not good, it goes into the committee room and it never comes out. I would say one of the bills that I have to fight, a very serious fight, is the amendment to the Central Bank Act. Those $16 billion that got missing, nobody would have known about it if we didn't do that amendment. Now, who did the amendment? I will tell you who is responsible. President Africa, Fair Trade. Amagala. The next of the act is show that central bank would get approval from the legislature because Nielsen was printing money and leaking money without any approval from anybody, not even the executive, not even the president. We put an end to that. So today, people know how much money is being printed in Liberia. Prior to that, nobody knew what was being printed by central bank. That was the act that passed on me. It was a tough one. It was a very, very, very tough one. Because you have senators who basically, today I don't want to call them mean, but there were senators of real strong who were opposed to the amendment. So we passed it.
Okay, Honorable Findley, your connection is is getting better as we go. We want to do all we can to bring you back on. Hopefully when you're in Buchanan or when you're in the city, so you can come on and take all your time for us to actually converse where we can hear you clearly. But we thank you for coming. Your Lieutenant, Honorable Greaves, you have been great. Thank you very much for making it possible. Hold it down the fort while we get the Honorable on the line. We want to thank you. You can call me. You can drop us a line anytime you want if you want to come back on. Just before we leave, Honorable Findley, is there anything else you want to say to the Bassa people, to Liberia at large before we let you go? I know we're running out of time here because we started a little late.
Yeah, but let me just put it this way. You know, one of the things that I told you I was going to ask about the gender issue, the things that we ask, let me bring it up. People say, well, you know, the incumbent is the only woman in the House of Senate. But this only woman was essentially the only woman in the House of Representatives that hails from Grand Bassa. She didn't support her. This only woman, politically speaking, fought just the other day, fought another female in Monserrado County in the senatorial seat. She didn't know she was a woman, and she was fighting another woman. This woman had the opportunity to vote for a woman who was aspiring for the highest political office in this country. Didn't support it. This only woman had an opportunity to support another woman for the second highest political office in this country. After a political party that he did not support it. So this gender issue, we must not make carried fast. In addition to that, you must, not because you're female or because you're only female, you must show your record of improving the lives of the people that you, the constituency you represent. It's not a right. It's not a God-given right to you because you're a woman, so you should have it. In addition to that, it's a political process. I get a lot of women calling me and calling me this and calling me that name. But let us be focused. Let us be objective. This is a political process that all of us should be subject to. If we want women's representation, then we have to amend the Constitution to guarantee women the seats that are necessary. If you want 1/3 or you want 50%, I have no problem supporting an amendment to the Constitution to do that. Yeah. So I'll end by saying that I will also close this way. I believe that if you look at all of the candidates in this senatorial race and what you're looking for, I think I have the best credentials to represent the people of Bassa at this time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Findley. Thank you for coming. We're going to do this again soon. Hopefully, you will be in a better position to talk to our folks, for them to see you and actually ask you questions. And if there are any calls so you will be able to actually interact with our folks. Thank you very much for the difficult time you're going through to get on the phone to talk to us. Mr. Doe, you want to say something before Honorable Findley goes?
Yes, I want to thank Honorable Findley also. Thank you so much for coming to On Point, focus on Liberia, making it possible. Again, we look forward to seeing you again on this platform, when you get the chance whereby you can be on video and the audio is much clearer. And we wish you best of luck on your candidacy, and that they wish that the Bassa people can see your platform as the best platform and elect you as their next senator. On our show, sometime we are in discussion with Wilson Tapia folks, the Minister of Commerce. Want to get him over here too, so that we can talk to him about the issues on Liberia. Mr. Tapia, I have sent him several email messages, and I'm working to see whether he's going to respond to that. So that's my assignment. I'm trying to get Wilson Tapia here, the Minister of Commerce, to come on focus on Liberia on point. And Mr. Jerome Gema, you want to take it home?
Yes, Honorable Grease, I want to thank you. Just before we go, I would like to read some that came to me through looking through one of my old notes. It's from one of our famous president, Theodore Roosevelt. He said, "It is not a critic who counts, not a man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doers of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the field, in the arena, whose face is marred with dust and sweat and blood, who strives violently, who errs and who comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasm and the great devotions that he spends himself, who at his best knows the end of triumph, of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place should never be with those cold, timid souls who know neither victory or defeat." So for those of you who have put your hat in the race, we commend you. This is not an easy task. It is not an easy thing to be insulted on a daily basis, to be called names, but yet and still you plow forward. We want to congratulate you. We want to congratulate everybody who wants to run for office. It is not an easy task. Congratulations to you all. And thank you for being on the show.
All right, Sia, you want to take it? Yes.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia.